We begin with the news just in. The four-day truce deal has been extended once again. The four-day truce deal has been extended. Qatar has confirmed the development. This comes after Israel said that it is still open to options. Mediator Qatar confirmed the news on social media platform X. Qatar said a humanitarian pause in fighting between Israel and Hamas will extend by 2 days as part of the ongoing mediation. An agreement has been reached to this effect. Once again, I'll read this developing story to you. This is what is happening at the moment. The four-day truce deal has been extended. Qatar has confirmed the development. This comes after Israel said that it is still open to options. Mediator Qatar confirmed the news on social media platform X. And Qatar says that a humanitarian pause in fighting between Israel and Hamas will extend by 2 days as part of the ongoing mediation. An agreement has been reached to this effect. Let's talk about this. Retired Colonel David B. Desroches is a professor at the Near East South Asia Center for Strategic Studies, National Defense University. He's now joining us live from Washington, D.C. Colonel David, welcome to the show. I'll just begin by asking you the latest development at this hour. There's been an extension of 2 more days for the truce deal. What do you make of this extension?
I think it's a positive development. I mean, as long as the hostages are being released, I think there'll be a truce. When you have a contentious negotiation like this, what's really important is to develop what weightlifters call muscle memory, where you actually have an accepted channel of how to conduct business. The more often you do that, the better your muscle memory gets, the easier it is to continue with positive development. So I don't see anything but good news here.
Well, Colonel, both sides have expressed willingness to extend the truce and the ceasefire. What will be the terms that both sides will be looking at?
Well, we don't know for sure, but it's a very, very complex deal. So first off, you have the fact that there needs to be a ceasefire. A ceasefire is always tenuous. If there's evidence, for example, that one side is repositioning military assets or threatening action against another, there might be some sort of preemptive attack, which will be portrayed by the other side as a violation of ceasefire. That's your first problem. Your second problem is that there might be some allegations that one side or another is mishandling either the hostages or the prisoners, and that they're not, that they're basically hurting them in order to increase the incentive to settle. That's the second problem. The third problem is part of this is the flow of humanitarian aid. Humanitarian aid is supposed to go into Gaza while there is a ceasefire going on. There's been issues. One side said, both sides accuse each other of impeding the flow of humanitarian aid. What we heard is that Qatar, which has played a very useful role here, has actually put diplomats on the ground to sort of inspect and escort these aid shipments into Gaza to make sure that they're actually moving properly and to be objective observers to see if somebody's impeding it. But any problem in any of those could create an issue. I think a final issue would be when we see the hostages who have been returned, when they start talking to the media, what they say. And that may inflame the situation in a way that would make a ceasefire to be untenable beyond that.
Colonel David, a part of this deal is likely to include daily release of 10 hostages and freeing of 30 Palestinian prisoners in exchange. What if Hamas does really go or abide by the rules set for this deal? What happens after? Because Israel says and insists that they will continue the action on Gaza or on Hamas, even if the truce ends.
Yeah, that's the big flaw at the heart of all this, which is Israel, and Netanyahu in particular. His political future is staked on the claim of destroying Hamas as a military organization. So this hostage release has to continue. But once it's done, then it's game on for the Israelis. And I think what Hamas is hoping is that international opinion will restrain the Israelis. But I don't think the internal dynamics of Israeli politics and Netanyahu's personal situation. I don't think that will allow him to do that. So I think at some point Hamas will realize, hey, we have to slow down the release, or we have to keep some hostages in reserve, because otherwise, we're back in the front line. So there is, just the way the deal is structured and the Israeli war aims almost ensure that this will not end on a good note.
Colonel David, before I let you go, just two questions from me.
Sure.
Do you think after the hostage exchange, the war will begin to phase out or will start again?
I think it'll start again.
What do you think about the meeting between Elon Musk and the Prime Minister of Israel and also the President of Israel? We're talking about information war here.
Well, I think that's a peripheral concern. I think that both sides felt that they probably came out of that ahead, but I think that it really will have no impact on the war here. And, the internet has kind of moved beyond Musk. His control of Twitter is not what it had been. Starlink is not really an active component in this war the way it is in the Ukraine-Russia war. So I think it's, it'll be a day-long story, and that's about it.
All right. I've been talking to retired Colonel David B. Desroches, who's a senior professor at the Near East South Asia Center for Strategic Studies, National Defense University. Colonel David, thank you for talking to us today.
Thank you.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.